So we talked with Ohio State's offensive line after Tuesday's practice. I'm Stephen Means. That's Stefan Krajisnik, and that is Andrew Gillis. And I think we know who the starting unit is, but there's a bigger question at hand here. Last year, especially late in the season, you saw a rotation on the offensive line when they were just trying to figure out what they had. That rotation was on the interior. But what if that rotation is now on the exterior, on the edge? Right now, and let me know if I'm wrong here, Austin Saravel is going to be the starting left tackle.
Seems like it.
Luke Montgomery is going to be the starting left guard.
Yeah.
Carson Hinsman is going to be the starting center.
Indeed.
Tegra Shabola is going to be the starting right guard.
Probably.
Okay, so that leaves Ethan Nyawa and Philip Daniels, who seem to be battling for this right tackle spot. What if they just rotated them for the Texas game, Stefan?
I mean, it worked for Ohio State last time they played Texas, was rotating offensive linemen. So, I don't hate this idea. I think the biggest question, and it's what Tyler Bowen talked about, is, he was asked, are you going to rotate like this line did in the playoff? And he was like, I'm not ready to answer that. And I think that depends on – depth is great. Having, naming 7 or 8 guys that we think are serviceable options is great. But the 5 on the field got to be, full go, ready to go against Texas, right? You can be – that's a good 6th option. Okay, he's a great 6th option, but what's it matter if he's got to start and he's not ready to go, at right tackle? So I think that's the biggest thing that they're trying to figure out right now is not just do they have 5 who are fully ready to go, do they have 6 or 7 ready to go? And if they do, I think we will see a rotation. If they feel comfortable in Tegra and Philip Daniels and Ethan Onyenyawa, I think all 3 of those guys might rotate on that right side of the line. And I think it might mainly be with Tegra and Ethan Onyenyawa at right guard, and maybe Philip Daniels stays put at tackle, but Onyenyawa's got history playing tackle. He's got history playing right tackle against Texas when he was at Rice. So, could he be a guy who comes in at left guard or right guard some snaps, right tackle some snaps, and Tegra can maybe move in and out, and Philip Daniels can maybe move in and out. That's what I think they're trying to figure out right now, because you have a lot of these pieces, but I think maybe I don't even want to say it's a problem, but it's Ethan Onyenyawa hasn't solidified himself as a starter. So, sure, he sounds like a great 6th option, but if he's not starter worthy, how can you put him out there against Colin Simmons, even if it is in this rotational role, right? If Philip Daniels isn't starter worthy, how do you put him out there against Colin Simmons? And that's what you got to figure out right now. Depth is great, pieces are great, options are great, but those options have to be ready to go against the number 1 team in the country on August 30th. And that's kind of the task right now. So I think Tyler Bowen, I think Ryan Day are very open to the idea of rotating like they did in the playoff, because it worked. And I think that strategy can work. We've talked about it so much. Why is it that every position on the field you can rotate outside of quarterback, but then offensive line stays put? And they're the ones that are maybe going through the most work every single snap. Why not rotate? Why not have guys who can move around? But if you don't have 7 guys who are ready to go, it worked last year because Austin Saravel was a beast. Luke Montgomery was a beast. Tegra Shabola played really well for them as the season progressed, and he was really good in the playoff. That's why it worked, because you had 3 guys who could start in a Big Ten program against Notre Dame, Texas, Tennessee, and Oregon. That's why that worked. This could work if those guys are ready to go, and I think that's the challenge right now for Ethan Onyenyawa, Philip Daniels, and Tegra Shabola is be that guy, prove that you're ready to go, and if you are, you'll be part of this rotation.
What do you think, Andrew?
I think the rotating is definitely an idea.
He hated it last year, guys, and they won a natty.
I wasn't a fan of it.
What's funny is Austin Saravel literally was walking behind, and if he could have heard, he probably would have been like, hey, remember how awesome I was rotating?
And
we should bring him back over here so you can say I'm sorry to him.
Why? But here's my counter to this. Why would they not rotate Austin Saravel this year?
Because he's probably your best offensive lineman, and you want him on the backside of your starting quarterback, who's a brand new starting quarterback, who probably is going to be a guy who said he was 6'1", 210 pounds.
Exactly. So you don't want to take that guy off the field. That's what you want. And I think that's what Tyler Bowen wants. Tyler Bowen does not want to be in a position to rotate, because they would not have rotated if Donovan Jackson was at left guard and Seth McLaughlin was at center. I mean, maybe you have a rotation at right guard with Tegra, but you're not keeping that 3-man rotation going, right? You're not keeping that kind of, let's play musical chairs here for the guard positions if you have Donovan Jackson there and Seth McLaughlin's locked that in and whatever. You're set there. And I think the way that Tyler answered that question was, Tyler Bowen, we got to have guys that are ready to play, right? And I think that is something that, when you talk about guys that are ready to play, I think that's what he's kind of looking for over these next couple of weeks. He wants to have answers. He wants to say, hey, we have 7-8 guys, and if we have 7-8 guys, we can do that because we have that ability to if we need to. But I think Tyler Bowen, the way that he answered that question, to me, I think he just kind of went, it was very clear that his preference would be, we have a kick butt left guard, we have a kick butt center, we have a kick butt right guard, we have a kick butt right tackle, and Austin Saraveld's at left tackle. And we don't have to worry about anything. Unless there's an injury, we don't have to worry about taking these guys off the field. We don't have to worry about anything. So I think in an ideal world, yeah, I think Ohio State probably does not want to rotate, because you are keeping your best 5 on the field because those guys are just really great. And why would you want to mess with that? So I think rotation is certainly an option. I think rotation is certainly something that we could see. I mean, you mentioned Colin Simmons. Ethan Burke is also very good at Texas, so we'll see. You know, the tackle position is up in the air, but if Austin Saravel is as good as he's kind of seemed in these last couple of months, and you feel good about left tackle, there may only be one spot, and that might be right tackle. And if Philip Daniels comes in and seizes that role and is really, really good, I don't know if there's a need to rotate at that point.
That's the point I'm making, though, is you don't know if you have that solidified at right tackle. So if you don't feel like you have 5 solidified, like, why not have 6 or 7 rotate to see who emerges there? Like, you're talking about, like, they wouldn't have moved Donovan Jackson and Seth McLaughlin if they didn't need to, because those guys are All-American level players. Yeah, but you don't know if Philip Daniels or Ethan Onyanwa is All-American level. Like, we don't know that yet. So why say, Philip Daniels, you're a right tackle, you get all the snaps, if you don't know if he's good enough for that yet? Like, why not rotate and see, okay, what's it look like? Because Tegra Shabola, there were highs and lows for his season last year, and when he was at his best was when he was able to rotate, right? Like, if he was that team starting right guard, he could have kept all the snaps. They realized that he was playing better if it was a smaller workload. So what if you realize that with Philip Daniels and Ethan Onyanwa? Like, I just, to compare it to Donovan and Seth McLaughlin doesn't make sense, because it's like, those are All-American guys. Yeah, obviously you don't move that. You don't know if you have that right now. That's what you're trying to figure out. Like, you don't know if you have 5 solidified. Sure, if you have 5 All-American offensive linemen, yeah, keep those guys out there. Don't rotate. But it sounds like they're confident in 3 to 4, and then it's like 5, 6, and 7 are all trying to figure themselves out. So why not put them all in there and figure out who's going to solidify themselves?
But I do think that goes back to the Saravel point, right? Where you're probably not taking Austin Saravel off the field, and we're not sitting here going Austin Saravel's. Yeah, right, exactly. You would prefer to be in a situation where you have that Austin Saravel kind of conversation, right?
Sure, but like,
be All-American.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not in that situation. Like,
right.
Again, that's the point he's making here. We know Donovan Jackson was that good going into the year, because he had 2 other years where he'd proven it. And then the NFL draft said, yeah, we're going to take that guy in the 20s. Seth McLaughlin, for all of his struggles at Alabama, had proof in the pudding that he was at least a serviceable center. And he was an upgrade from last year. We don't know that. And we can't talk about the rotation as if it's only from a place of weakness. It might be from a place of strength. Maybe they genuinely have 6 guys that they believe can play. Tyler Bowen got asked about the idea, do you think you have 4 tackles? And he said we were close, but not quite there yet, which, again, 2021 is ringing off in my head right now, when we entered fall camp and it was Thayer Munford on the left, Nicholas Petit-Frere on the right, Matthew Jones at left guard, Paris Johnson at right guard, and Luke Whippler at center. And then we got to literally this point in fall camp, and all of a sudden, Thayer Munford's playing left guard, Nicholas Petit-Frere is playing left tackle, and DeJuan Jones is in there. You would not have thought about that. You would have just been like, wait, the 2 guys who were your starting tackles last year, why can't they just be your starting tackles this year? Why would you change things up? Because you're trying to find your best fit. And that's what, to the point, both of your guys' point right now, it feels like they've got 7 guys who they believe can play football from them. Now the question is, of that 7, who are the best 5 options, even if that means moving Ethan Onyanwa, who has never played guard before in his life, in the right guard, or maybe moving him back to the position he played the last time he played Texas, and it's moving Austin Saravel to left tackle, and whatever else you have to do. They're still trying to figure this thing out. That's the point here. And also, Philip Daniels called C.J. Hicks Abdul Carter today, and I'm saying that because C.J. Hicks is walking by, and I got the exact reaction I thought I was going to get. 614-350-3315. It's a 2-week free trial, $3.99 after that. Go listen to Buckeye Talk for every fine podcast. That's Andrew, that's Stefan, that's Steven. We found our best 3. Let's see if Ohio State can find its best 5. See ya.